morning. Someone has decided this week that they are now a light sleeper instead of a heavy sleeper like they used to be. Someone is this someone. She used to be able to sleep through making coffee, taking a bath, whatever like that. And now this week she's decided, good morning Becca, that she wants to wake up for all those things. So that's a joy to behold. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I was trying to give my, the strain a break. You know what I mean? Sometimes when you put your hair up too much, it starts to you know what I'm talking about? There's a lot of strain when you wear your head up too much. 6 months ago, my nephew became a phone away, refused to do it. Yep. That's exactly. I feel like she's been a FOMO baby, forever. But the thing is, I thought maybe since I carry her, oh, that's exciting, Becca. I thought maybe since I carry her, she wouldn't be so bothered because she knows she's with me anyway. It's not like I'm putting her down, you know what I mean? She's right here. You can sleep, you're right here. But she said, no, I have stuff. Hey, how are you? Oh, thank you. Now consider changing this one real concern. Yeah, everything is changing. That's exactly right, Christy. She's definitely changing. Oh, that is perfect timing. That's very perfect timing. Okay, let's get the milk going because mommy needs coffee. That being said, hey Liz, how are you feeling? She did sleep in 3 and 4 hour stretches last night instead of 2 and 3. For a while, oh, that's some nice drool on me, but you've got a bird cloth on. Why? Here, let's make sure that this is here to catch it. Yeah. For a while there, we were doing wake-ups every hour and a half to 2 hours with occasionally a 3 hour dip. Not good. Oh, that's not good, Liz. I'm sorry. But you're going to the doctor tomorrow, Liz? Is that right? So we were doing that for a while, but last night she slept, for the past 2 nights, her first stretch has been 4 hours, and then the second one almost 3. So that's something. Tomorrow morning. Okay, that's what I thought. I'm glad I remembered correctly. It's not perfect, but it is something. It's not perfect, but it is something. It's a coffee pod. This one's called Vivita. It's pink. It's got extra vitamin B in it for mommy. And I guess also for you. You're better than me. I had to look at my portal this morning to remember. I try to remember. I try. I'm not always successful, but I do try. 6 weeks or less paid time off. Yeah. Stephanie, remind me if you work from home. Do you work from home, Stephanie, when you go back to work? I'm trying to remember. I think you do. I feel like you do. If you do, you're going to be living the life I live, where we just, we're going to have to find you a desk-friendly carrier. I find that the ring sling, I do, that's only goes in the table. Yeah, seriously. They changed it 3 weeks ago. What terrible timing. You're like, seriously, I'm currently pregnant. What I have found, Stephanie, just as a, for your future, ring sling is the thing that she lets me sit down the most in, and especially like at a desk or whatever. I know that book club makes it look like that's not true, but like outside of book club, mostly that. That being said, I do actually sometimes bring my laptop over to the kitchen counter. Oh, standing desk, that's what I was exactly going to say. So standing desk height, and then I wear her on my back for a lot of that time. You might find that that is useful to you. Yeah, the widow waggy. You might find that back carrying while you're at a standing desk is useful because you'll be able to, you don't have to reach around to do your work. And I don't know what your setup is at, yes, we're definitely making coffee. I don't know what your setup is like, but especially if you have like a mirror in the vicinity. Like I was thinking if I ever remade my setup, I would have my tall desk and I would have like, if the tall, let's just pretend that that didn't happen. If I had the tall desk here, I would put a mirror there so that she could always communicate with me that way. I also got to swing with sports. Yeah, definitely. What I have found with anything like the swing / bounce or whatever, I get about 20 minutes out of that. And then she's like screaming pants. But your baby may not be that way. Some babies put up with them longer. So everyone's different, right? So yeah. The only reason I thought of the mirror is because when she loves being able to see us in the mirror, and like when I talk to her, like if I go to check on her when she's on my back, I'll go in the bathroom and I'll go like, hi, you know, whatever, like that. Yes, hi. And she loves us looking at each other and she thinks it's really funny. So, you know, I don't know. It's just a thought. That's what I would do if I had it to do over. I did the mirror thing with Jacko Avery. Yeah, you did? Okay, so Valerie did it also. Valerie, I love knowing that you did that with Jack, and it makes so much sense about his... My headaches have been better. I haven't had one since I got the glasses, really. Have you tried a walker yet? We set a pillow behind them at her age. We haven't, but I think mostly because she can't, like, fully sit up. I think it's not, like, rated for her development yet. But also we just don't have space really for her to walk around like in a walker. I feel like we bump into so much. We have to reorganize the house. Jim's supposed to be home half the time, so I'll have some help. Yeah, secret husband being home was clutch. I don't think I could have done it alone. But you know, can I remake your sleep? Are you kicky? Are you kicky? Do you really think that's funny? Do you think being kicky is funny? But I mean, you guys see it. I do most of my work with her on me. Roll for slimes tonight. Yeah. That was my dance for roll for slime. It is, well, I guess it's sort of roll for slime. It's challenge night because there's not a lot of rolling happening because it's challenges, but still good. That's why I did the chair activity jumper stationary. That's what I need. I need a stationary one. I just have to figure out where to put it. If I reorganize the slime room, maybe I can put it in there. Because that's where I really need it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem. I need this stuff in there. I'm also excited. Yeah, you need more floor space. That's exactly true. It's exactly true. It's the floor space issue. We've already reorganized it a little. Like, you know, we have the mat now where the table used to be. But, you know, I just set an alarm so I remember. I can run back. That's really funny. Why won't this come out? There we go. Are you sure you don't want to go back to sleep? You were sleeping so nicely. You really were. It was really great. You could go back to it. I'm telling you, like, it's an option. The thing of it is, sweet girl, if us grown-ups could just sleep the day away the way that you can, we would. We would. We didn't get rid of the table per se, we just like moved it to the side. We aren't allowed walkers here. We have things called egg saucers. Oh, I pushed everything up against the walls in the room. Yeah, we're gonna have to do that, Valerie. I'll take a nap for her, please. Can I take a nap for her? She's trying to get to the coffee. You can't have coffee, honey. I know you're Italian, so you think you can have it at birth, but that's just not how it works. I remember several chapters that didn't know my mama. Oh yes, Erica. She's 6 months old, actually. She's 6 months. She is a full baby. Not even that new anymore. Only secondhand coffee, that's right. She has tasted water now, and guys, she loves water. Her pediatrician said to start giving her a couple sips of water when we feed her food, so she gets used to drinking when she's eating. Oh, power's back on. Oh, good. Where were you, Amanda? Wait, I missed something. I obviously missed something, Amanda. But her pediatrician, her most recent milestone is that she can sit up now, which is big. That's a big one. And we tried food. So the doctor said when she was eating, saucers like a walker, but they stay in place and can spin the same. Oh, that's fun. To give her sips of water, and she really likes water. She does. She's only allowed to have a couple sips per day. I'm at the ranger. That's hilarious. That is hilarious, Amanda. I'm gonna fix your seat real quick because saucer's way too big for your apartment. Is it? Oh, yeah. We have a pretty small space. Becca knows because she's been here. We're not exactly swimming in space. Swimming in space. Someday we'll have a house. You know. We're working on it. We're working on it. I would trip over it daily, probably. It's probably true. Yeah. I mean, if we had a larger space, these things would be different. But, you know, it is what it is. That's why I wondered the door jumper. Yeah. I wonder if I could put a door jumper in the slime room door. You know? I wonder if that would work. Well, who knows, right? Johnny Jump Up? I'll have to look it up. Johnny Jump Up. Johnny Jump Up. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, you know what you want? I see you. You're asking me for what do you call it? Hang on, let me get her a Chewy. She's opening her mouth like she wants a Chewy. Look at this hilarious Chewy that someone from book club sent. I don't know which one of you monsters did this, but how funny is this Chewy? Is there mold? Yeah, there's molding over the door. Yeah. Is that good or bad? Look at this. It's pasta. It's pasta. What a genius design, because pasta has ridges anyway. So funny, right? You want your pasta? Yeah. Mommy and Daddy had pasta for dinner last night, and you can have pasta for breakfast. There you go. Pasta? Isn't that hilarious? I think it's funny. It makes me laugh. Did you switch to new food yet? So we have done 2 foods so far. Today is day 3 of avocado. Nope, that's wrong. Today is day 3 of eggs. So tomorrow will be a new food. Tomorrow is either going to be broccoli or cucumber. We're not sure which one. We bought both. You do a jumper so you can pull it out of the way and save space. Yeah, we should do that. But yeah, today is day 3 of eggs. So far so good. She likes eggs and she didn't have any reaction or anything. No, the doctor also said that they could have localized like a little face breakout. That wouldn't be considered a true allergy. It's just because it's new, but she didn't even have that. Cucumber not fully frozen, right? Yeah, no, just regular old cucumber. Jumper with the toy loops on the straps. Yes, she loves toy stuff hanging off of the things. We do that for her Her stroller, we have toys attached to it, and she, big fan. Big fan. She also likes toys to be attached to me when I wear her. So, you know, this is nothing new. Nothing new, right? You like that pasta? All right, well, whoever gave us the pasta, just know it was a hit. She said no cucumber for you. That's interesting. Frozen avocado was one of Jack's favorite things. Yeah, she liked avocado a lot. It was hard for her to hold at this stage, but I think flavor-wise she was into it. So as she gets better at gripping things, she will like that a lot. That's really sad, Stephanie. That's hard. My sister had a little bit of that with Zoe, but Ethan loved vegetables when she was pregnant with him. But she has a really easy time gripping eggs. The eggs, we cut them into the little strips with the little ridges or whatever, and she could hold on to that much easier. Yeah, oh, food holder. Oh, I should do that in one of those, like, the mesh things for the avocado. You're right. But the eggs she can pick up on her own, which was nice. She likes picking up. Yeah. But she does like holding the eggs. It made her a happy camper to hold those on her own. She was like, she like kept looking at us like, I'm allowed. I accidentally closed out and the girl with the list came up, apparently more women in their voice. Wait, what list? Oh, I like that. Oh, good. That's actually great, Becca. That's a good thing. How old is she now? She is 6 months, almost on the nose. She turned 6 months last week. I'm a big girl now. Watch this, Mama. That's right. Yeah. I think, so here's the thing. People having broccoli's more powerful flavor and might be too much for her taste was true. That's a good point. A list of why she won't have, well, that's fair. So, people having kids older get a lot of flack, right? It's we get called geriatric pregnancies. People say all sorts of things, but there's a couple of things that, like, especially, so I don't know if you guys remember when I was pregnant, I had to do 100%, Stephanie. That's a big part of it. When I was pregnant, to get, whatever happened to that anyway? I was supposed to get a credit from our insurance for doing check-ins, right? Okay, I know the baby's laughing as if I'm not like a super active mom. But so yeah, my mom was 37 when she had me, Nikki. So but what I was gonna say was, I had to do monthly check-ins with a nurse, and she kept asking questions like mental health questions, different things like that. And then she was like, how do you feel about the fact that you're an older mom, or you guys are older parents? And I was like, well, let me, because I think she was trying to, like, I don't know what she was trying to imply, but I was like, let me just, like, level for you a little bit of this for a second. Like, first of all, we're more established in finances. That's a start. Like, we're not rich by any means, but we're not struggling to survive and therefore putting those struggles on her, right? So that's number one. Number two, we're also settled in who we are as people. We're not still figuring out what we like, what we don't like, who, blah, blah, blah. Thank you. I appreciate that, Becca. All those things. So she has two parents who know what they're into, you know what I mean? And know how to communicate and things like that, because we're not still learning. If I had had her when I was in my 20s, a lot of those things I would have still been learning, but I know how I like to communicate now, and we know a lot of those other things. And so I know, 6 months, it's crazy, Marissa, it's crazy. I can't believe she can sit up. It's like mind-boggling. And then on top of all of that, I am in a mental place as a older parent to know to do research, right? Like, so many young parents don't even think to do basic research because you don't know what you don't know when you're young. But because I'm an old lady, I read like 1 million books while I was pregnant with her, and then read about everything possible, and reading doesn't do everything, but it gave me a good base for what to do. It's not perfect, but it's a start, so yes, I'm a little older, but also the women in my family tend to live forever. So she's pretty much stuck with me until she's 60 anyway. And I think that's fine. Like, I think that's pretty much good enough. Same, Stephanie. Yeah. I mean, I think your parent passing when you're 60 years old is just fine. I mean, you don't know that, Becca. Don't say that. You don't know that. That's only, Becca. That's not. You know. You got this. Hey, Ray. We're gonna make it happen. You and my husband always say the same thing. He's always like, "You guys have fun when I'm gone." I'm just like, "Stop it. You're gonna hang out with us." That said, I hope she likes me enough to be hanging out with me when she's 60. I'll be 100. Yeah, I'll be 100. That being said, the women in my family do live that long, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. Both of my grandmothers lived to 99, and you guys have seen my aunt who's 80. She still hikes, and she's 80. So, you know, and she wears this baby in this sling. Yeah. Yeah. That's right, and they'll keep us young. Yeah. Yeah. You will. Oh, that's the other thing. We're keeping Becca alive longer. Becca, that's not gonna work for me. I don't like that. I don't like where you're going with that, and I rebuke it. As a former religious person, I'm gonna go ahead and pull out that I rebuke it in Jesus' name. I don't like it. That's not even that long from now. Yeah, exactly. If I can get around the way that my aunt does, I'm happy to keep going for a lot longer, you know? Because, like I said, she hikes at 80. And sometimes she hikes carrying her dog. 50's here, but my mom passed them on. Yeah, exactly. Keep going. Keep going. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So anyway, the moral of that story is, especially if I get grandkids, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you guys have seen my mom too. My mom's 78 and she still works. Not that I want to be working when I'm 78, but you can do it. I know, hiking at 80. She looks good. I wish she would let me show you guys a picture of her. She doesn't like, you know, being on camera. But she's a, well, because Grandma, I guess she did smoke for a long time. Smoking does shorten your lifespan, yeah. But my aunt does not look 80. Yeah, Grandma 92, Mom was 61. So split the difference. Maybe it would be somewhere in the 80s, right? Okay, let's read. Ugh, it's still doing that thing from yesterday. Oh, she doesn't? I'll say your aunt looks amazing and never would have guessed her age. Yeah, exactly. All in favor of getting the witchy vibe. Yeah, I'm into that. Let's do it. What do we have to do? Get some like sage and rosemary and grind them up in a pot. She thought that was funny. In case you all want to know, Catherine, my sister, is definitely a little witchy, so she could probably find something for you. Yeah. I'm married to a witch technically. Right, so why is she not fixing this for you? Tell Deborah to get on it. What is her damage? Would your aunt let you share a picture of the book club chat instead of being online, maybe? Possibly. Yeah, she might. I adore the orange clay squish. Yeah, that was pretty funny, right, Andrea? That's actually from the last administration, like when he was around last time. I made that in 2019. For those of you who have seen the clay cracking stuff, and I'll promise I'll read right after this, the clay cracking stuff that I posted, I was a nanny right before those were made, and one of my nanny charges ended up going to art school, and she painted those for me when she was in high school, because she went to an art high school, and she used to come over to my slime studio after school, and I would pay her to like label jars and stuff, and she made those clay crackings for me. She's very talented. She's in college now, and I will just tell you, you guys have probably seen in the slime room, I have that purple and pink sparkly painting. She made that, and that's supposed to be the representation of like my soul or my essence. She made that for my birthday one year, and when she applied to art school, she was supposed to write about an artist who inspired her, and she wrote about me. And she said that I made her see the world with wonder, being her nanny. And I was like, you're sweet. So she made those for me. She's a big girl now, and I don't talk to her as much because I try not to bug her because she's in college and she's trying to live her life. But I did send her a message on her birthday and things like that. So, you know. I told her if she ever comes to LA, she owes me. She has to come hold my baby like I held her. Yeah. Right? You want to meet Anya? You would love Anya. She's silly. She makes silly voices. Yeah, just like mommy. Yeah. She was a funny kid. She was a really funny kid. Like she was one of the most naturally funny humans I've ever known. Like she would just pull stuff out. Like one day she brought out a sock puppet. She was like 9 years old and she goes, "Sasha, look." And I was like, "What?" And she goes, and she clears her throat and she goes, and she's got the sock puppet on her hand and she goes, "I'm Stock Monkey and I like to invest in businesses." And I was like, that's funny. Like that's like a whole bit. She just came out with it out of nowhere. She was 9. You know what I mean? And this was like 12 years ago. So like the internet wasn't even TikTok didn't even exist. These things didn't even exist, right? At 9, she just said that randomly. And I think have I told you guys about Dr. Hemafron? We were playing, she was a sporty kid and she was like, "Will you throw the ball around with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I'm not very good at it." So she threw the ball and I tried to catch it and I missed because I'm not very good, and it jammed my finger and I went, "Ooh," like that. And she was like, "Oh no, are you okay?" And I was like, "It's okay. It's not your fault that I'm bad at catching." And like I wasn't blaming her that I didn't catch the ball properly. And she was like, "No, I hurt you." And I was like, "You didn't hurt me. The ball hurt me. I hurt myself. Any of those things, not you. It's an accident. Accidents happen." But I was kind of like holding my finger because it did hurt, right? But I wasn't like making a big deal out of it. I was just like holding it to like kind of hold it together. Where can I send her my financial? Yeah, right. That's funny. And she goes, "Let me fix it for you." And I was like, I mean, there's not really a lot. No, let me fix it for you. You have to fix it, okay? No, seriously. Yeah, right. Big time. And I was like, okay, sure. And so I decided to just let her have at it, right? And I was like, "Yeah, go ahead. Fix my finger. What are you gonna do?" So she runs to the kitchen and she starts banging around in the kitchen. I was like, "Gonna cook my finger?" And I'm in the living room with her sister, right? She had a little sister. She has a little sister. And she comes back with rubber bands and chopsticks and something else. I can't even remember. And she basically sits down and makes a splint for my finger. And I was like, "You know what? I gotta tell you, that's pretty good. Like, this was a good idea, and it's a pretty solid splint." And I said it just like that, just like I always do. I was like complimenting her. I was like, "I really like your problem solving skills here. Like, you really went at it and found a way to make a splint, and without missing a beat." She did not miss a beat. And she goes, "Well, of course, I went to medical school." And I was like, "Who do I have the pleasure of working with?" And she said, "I'm Dr. Hemafron. I went to medical school." And I was like, "Did you? How'd that go for you?" And she said, "Oh, rough road." I was like, "Really? It was a rough road going to medical school?" "Yes, very difficult." I was like, "Oh, I'm not sure if I want a doctor who felt like medical school was difficult, but continue on your work." And, and she was like continuing to tell me all these things. And so finally I said like, we got under her parents somehow, and I was like, "Did your parents paid for medical school?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "How are they now?" And she said, "They live in the basement." And I was like, Dr. Hemafron got some stories to tell. So rough road became a joke in our house because we would always go, "Rough road." She was a crack of a kid, you guys. I mean, truly hilarious kid. But anyway, that's Anya. Those are my favorite Anya stories. Okay, wait, I have one more. I've told you guys the story about her not wanting to have children, right? We should read. I shouldn't do this. Okay, we can talk about this tomorrow. I'm not here to talk about Anya. Let's read, and then we'll talk about. I'll tell you guys the Anya not wanting to have kids story tomorrow. All right. Monday, May 5th. In the limo on the way to princess lessons. I am so totally the star of the school, as if the princess thing weren't enough, now it's going all around Albert Einstein that Michael and I saved Boris's life. My God, we're like Dr. Kovac and Nurse Abby of AEHS. And Michael even looks a little like Dr. Kovac. I mean, with the dark hair and the gorgeous chest and all that. I don't even know why my mother is bothering with a midwife. She should just have me deliver the baby. I could so totally do it. All I need is like some scissors and a catcher's mitt. Jeez. God, I'm gonna have to rethink this whole writer thing. My talents might lie in a completely different sphere. Monday, May 5th, lobby of the plaza. Also, Mia, please contain yourself. Don't deliver the baby. Lars just told me that to get into medical school, you actually have to get good grades in math and science. I can see why you have to know science, but math? Why? Why? Why is the American educational system conspiring against me to keep me from reaching my career goals? Monday, May 5th, on the way home from the plaza. Trust Granmere to burst my bubble. I was still riding high from the medical miracle that I performed back at school. Well, look, it was a miracle that I didn't pass out from the sight of all that blood. And Granmere was like, so, when can I schedule your fitting at Chanel? Because I've put a dress on hold there that I think will be perfect for this little prom that you're so excited about. But if you want it on time, you're going to have to get fitted in the next day or so. So then I had to explain to her that Michael and I still weren't going to the prom. She didn't react to that news like any normal grandmother, of course. A normal grandmother would have been all sympathetic and would have patted me on the hand and given me some baked cookies or $1 or something like that. No, not my grandmother. Oh no. My grandmother was just like, well, then you obviously didn't do as I instructed. Geez, blame the victim, Grandma. What do you mean? I blurted out. So of course Granmere was all, what do I mean? Is that what you said? And then ask me that properly. What do you mean, Granmere? I asked her more politely, even though inward, of course, I didn't feel very polite at all. I mean that you haven't done as I said. I told you that if you found the right incentive, your Michael would be only too happy to escort you to the prom, but clearly you would rather sulk around than take any sort of necessary action to get what it is that you want. I took umbrage at that. I beg your pardon, Granmere, I said, but I have done everything humanly possible to convince Michael to go to the prom, short of actually explaining to him why it's so important to me to go, because I'm not even so sure that if I did tell Michael why it's so important to me that he would even agree to go. And how much would that suck? You know, if I bared my soul to the man that I love only to have him decide that it's not his desire to attend the same lame thing as a prom, and it's even stronger of a desire not to than to see my dream come true? On the contrary, you have not done it, Granmere said, and then she stubbed out her cigarette and exhaled the plumes of gray smoke from her nostrils. It's totally shocking how the weight of a Genovian throne rests solely on the slender shoulders of hers, and yet my own grandmother remains unconcerned by the effects of secondhand smoke on my lungs. Wait, what? Anyway, then she went, I've explained this to you before, Amelia. In situations where opposing parties are striving to achieve détente, and are yet failing to reach it, it's always in your best interest to step back and ask yourself what the enemy wants. I blinked through all the smoke. I'm supposed to figure out what Michael wants? Correct. I shrugged. Well, easy. He doesn't want to go to the prom because it's lame. No, that's what Michael doesn't want. What does he want? I had to think about that one. I said, watching Ramel, seeing Granmere otherwise occupied. He leaned over and surreptitiously began licking the fur off of one of his paws. I guess Michael wants to play in his band? Bien, Granmere said, which means good in French. What else might he want? I said, I don't know. I was still thinking about the band thing. It is the duty of freshman, sophomore, and junior classes to put on the prom for the seniors. So even though we ourselves do not get to go unless invited by a senior, I tried to remember what the prom committee had reported in the Atom. So far, the arrangements that they'd made for the music at the prom were, I think they hired a DJ or something. Of course you know what Michael wants, Granmere said sharply. Michael wants what every man wants. You mean, I felt stunned by the rapidity in which my grandmother's mind worked. You mean that I should ask the prom committee to let Michael's band play at the prom? Granmere started to choke for some reason. Well, what? She demanded and then hacked up a lung practically. I sat back in my seat completely at a loss for words. It had never occurred to me before, but Granmere's solution to the problem was totally perfect. Nothing would delight Michael more than an actual paying gig for Skinnerbox. I would get to go to the prom, and not just with the man of my dreams, but an actual member of the band. Is there anything cooler in the world than being at the prom with a member of the band playing at the prom? No. No, there is not. Granmere, I breathed, you are a genius. Granmere was slurping the last of the ice in her sidecar. I don't have the slightest idea what you're talking about, Amelia, she said. But I knew, for the first time in her life, Granmere was just being modest. Then I remembered what I was supposed to be angry with her on account of Jangbu. So I went on, but Granmere, let's get serious for a minute. This thing with the busboys, the strike, you've got to do something because it is your fault after all. Granmere eyed me through all the blue smoke coming out of the new cigarette that she just lit. Well, you ungrateful little chit, she said. I solve all your problems, and this is the thanks that you show me? I'm serious, Granmere, I said. You've got to call Les Hajout Manger and tell them about Rommel. Tell them it was your fault that Jangbu tripped and that they've got to hire him back. It isn't fair otherwise. I mean, the poor guy lost his job. He'll find another, Granmere said dismissively. Not without references, I pointed out. So he can go back to his native land then, Granmere said. I'm sure his parents miss him. Granmere, he's from Nepal, a country that's been under Chinese oppression for decades. He can't go back there. There's no jobs there. He'll starve. I can no longer care to discuss this, Granmere said loftily. Tell me 10 different courses traditionally served at a Genovian royal wedding. Granmere, tell me? So I had no choice but to rattle off 10 different courses traditionally served at Genovian weddings. Olives, antipasto, pasta, fish, meat, salad, bread, cheese, fruit, dessert. Note to self, when Michael and I get married, remember not to do it in Genovia unless the palace will do an all-vegetarian meal. I don't understand how someone who has embraced the dark side as fully as Granmere can come up with brilliant stuff like getting Michael's band to play at the prom. Oh well, I guess even Darth Vader had his moments. I can't think of any right now, but I'm sure he had some. Listen, it is a great idea, but I don't think it's what Granmere was talking about. Call me crazy. 9:05, not bad. Monday, May 5th, 9 p.m., The Loft. All right, bad news. I spent the whole evening poring over back issues of The Atom, trying to figure out who was the head of the prom committee so that I could email him or her with my request that Skinnerbox be approached as a possible live entertainment alternative to the DJ that I know they already have lined up. So you can only imagine my surprise and disappointment when I finally stumbled across the article I was looking for, and I saw the horrifying answer right there in black and white. Lana Weinberger. Lana Weinberger is the head of this year's prom committee. Well, that's it. I'm dead. There's no way that I'm going to There's no way that I'm going to get to go to the prom now. I mean, Lana would sooner go off her zone diet than hire my boyfriend's band. I mean, Lana hates my guts, and she always has. And I can't say that the feeling isn't mutual. What am I going to do now? I can't miss the prom. I just can't. But I guess I don't have the biggest problems in the world. I mean, for instance, there are people with worse ones, like Boris, for instance. I got this email from him just now. Josh Bell, too. Mia, I just wanted to say thanks for what you did for me today. I don't know why I behaved so stupidly. I guess I was just overcome with emotion. I do love her so much, but it's clear to me now that we are not destined for each other. As I so thought long erroneously, I realize at last. No, Lily is like a wild mustang, born to run free. I see now that no man, least of all someone like me, can ever hope to tame her. Treasure what you have with Michael, Mia. It's a rare and beautiful thing, love, and to be loved in return. Boris Pawlowski. P.S. My mother says that she will get your sweater dry cleaned so I can give it back to you at the end of the week. She says star cleaners, they think that they can get blood out without any permanent staining. BP. Poor Boris. Imagine thinking of Lily as a wild mustang. A wild mushroom, maybe, but a mustang? I don't think so. I figured I'd better check on how she was doing, since last time I'd seen her, Lily had been looking kind of green around the gills. I sent her a tonally non-accusatory, completely friendly email inquiring as to her mental health and the overall ordeal of earlier in the day. You can imagine my outrage when this is what my efforts got me. Women rule. Hey, POG. POG is the nickname that Lily decided to give me a few weeks ago. It stands for Princess of Genovia, and I had asked her repeatedly not to use it, but she persists, probably because I made the mistake of letting her know that it bugs me. What's up? Miss you tonight at tonight's SATWDOPOJPA press conference. It looks like we might actually have to get the hotel union behind our cause. If we can get the hotels to strike, then as well as the restaurant workers, we're going to bring the city to its knees. Finally, people will start realizing that service industry personnel are not to be trifled with. The common man deserves a paid living wage. Wasn't that wild about Boris this afternoon? I have to say, it gave me quite a scare. I had no idea that he was such a psycho. And then again, he is a musician. I should have known. That was pretty cool, the way that you and Michael handled the situation, though. You two were just like Dr. McCoy and Nurse Chappelle. I thought you'd probably prefer if I said that you were Dr. Kovac and Nurse Abby, which I guess you kind of were. Well, gotta go. My mom wants me to put the dishes away. Lily. P.S. Janku did the sweetest thing after the press conference today. He bought me a silk rose from a booth on Canal Street. So romantic. Boris never did stuff like that. L. I have to admit, I was shocked. Shocked by Lily's cavalier dismissal of poor Boris's pain, shocked by her "what's up" and her reference to the original Star Trek. Lily herself would have called it passé, especially since she's usually on the cutting edge of pop culture, and really, I was shocked at her implication that all musicians are psychos. I mean, hello, her brother, my boyfriend, is a musician, and we certainly have our problems, but not because he's in any way a psycho. In fact, if anything, my problems with Michael probably have to do with the fact that he's a Capricorn, and he has feet planted too firmly on the ground, whereas I, the freewheeling Taurus, want to bring a little more fun into our relationship. I wrote back to her right away, and I will admit I was so angry as I typed that my hands were shaking. Fat Louie, Lily, it might interest you to know that Boris had to get 2 stitches and a tetanus shot because of what happened in G&T today. Furthermore, he might have a concussion. Perhaps you could tear yourself away from your tireless work on behalf of Jangbu, a guy that you've only known for 3 days, and spare a little sympathy for your ex, whom you dated 8 whole months. Lily's response was almost instantaneous. Well, excuse me, POG. I can't say that I really appreciate your condescending tone. Kindly don't pull your Royal Highness act on me. I'm sorry if you don't happen to like Jangbu or the work that I'm doing to help him and people like him. However, that does not mean that I need to be held hostage by my old relationship and the juvenile theatrics of a self-delusional narcissist like Boris. I did not make him pick up that globe and drop it on his head. He made that choice all on his own. I would think you, as a faithful viewer of the Lifetime movie channel for women, would recognize the manipulative behavior like Boris as a classic stalker. But then, maybe if you stopped watching so many movies and actually tried living for a change, you'd recognize this. You also might be writing something a little more challenging for the school papers than the cafeteria beat. I could tell she was feeling guilty over what she had done to Boris by how thoroughly she attacked him. That I could ignore, but her attack on my writing could not go unnoticed, so I immediately fired back. Yeah, well, I may watch a lot of movies, but at least I don't go around with my face glued to a camera lens the way that you do. I prefer to watch movies and invent drama for the movies. Furthermore, I will have you know that Leslie Cho asked me to cover a hard news story for the paper just the other day. This is what I got in reply. Yeah, a story I made possible. You are so weak. Go back to pining over the fact that you have to spend your summer in a palace in Genovia, wah, wah, wah. And that my brother doesn't really want to go to the prom with you, and leave the real problem solving to people like me, who are better equipped intellectually to handle it. Well, that was the last straw. Lily Moscovitz is no longer my best friend. I have taken all the abuse that I can stand, and I am thinking about writing back to tell her such. But that would be too childish and not intellectual enough. Maybe I'll just ask Tina if she'll be my best friend from now on. But no, that would be childish too. I mean, it's not like we're in 3rd grade anymore. We're practically women. Like my mom said, women like my mom don't go around declaring who their best friend is and who isn't. They just sort of know, without saying anything about it at all. I don't know how they know, but they just do. Maybe it's an estrogen thing or something like that. Oh my God, I have such a headache. Well, looks like Lily had 2 breakups in one day. Monday, May 5th, 11 p.m. I almost burst into tears just now when I checked my email one last time before bed because this is what I found there. Linux rules. Mia, are you sure you aren't mad at me about something? Because you hardly said 3 words to me today except during that whole Boris thing. Did I do something wrong? And then and then another one a second later. Never mind what I said in that last email. It was actually stupid. I know if I'd done something to upset you, you would have told me because you're the kind of girl that would do that. That's one of the reasons that we're so good together, because we can tell each other things. And then he said, it's not that thing from your party, is it? You know, where I wouldn't beat up Jangbu for making out with my sister? Because getting involved with my sister's love life is never a good idea, as you might have noticed. And then he wrote, well, whatever. Good night, and I love you. Oh, Michael, my sweet protector. Why won't you take me to the prom? Tuesday, May 6th, 3 a.m. I still can't believe the nerve of her. I learned a lot about writing from watching movies. For example, valuable tips that I, Mia Thermopolis, have learned about writing from watching movies. Aspen Extreme. TJ Burke moves to Aspen to become a ski instructor, but he really wants to write. And when he's done penning his touching tribute to a dead friend named Dex, he puts it in an envelope and sends it to Powder magazine. A hot air balloon and 2 swans then fly by, and you see a mail carrier put a copy of Powder in TJ's mailbox. On the cover is a blurb about TJ's story. It's that easy to get published. Wonder Boys. Always keep a backup disc. Little Women. Ditto. Moulin Rouge. When writing a play, do not fall in love with your leading lady, especially if she has consumption. Also, don't drink anything green that's offered to you by a midget. It says that. I didn't say that. Beljar. Don't let your mother read your book until after it's published, when there's nothing she can do about it. Adaptation. Never trust a twin. Isn't she great? The Jacqueline Suzanne story. Publishers don't actually mind if you turn in a manuscript on pink stationery. Also, sex sells. How dare Lily suggest that I've been wasting my time watching TV? And if I happen to choose a career in the medical profession, then I'm still golden, because I've seen practically every episode of ER that was ever made. Not to mention MASH. Tuesday, May 6th. Again, I think we have a typo because there's a comma after the 6, but nothing else. Weird. Horrible day so far in every way. Number 1, Mr. G gave us a pop quiz in algebra that I flunked because I was too worked up over the whole Boris Lily prom thing last night to study, and you would think that my own stepfather would be kind enough to drop me a hint or two about when he's going to give a pop quiz, but apparently that would violate some teacher code of ethics, as if. What about stepfather's code of ethics? Has anyone ever thought of that? You know what? If a leprechaun offers you absinthe, you should probably take it. Just being real with you. If a leprechaun offers me anything, I'm probably taking it. I'm married to a giant leprechaun, so maybe I'm biased. Number 2, Shamika and I got caught passing notes again, and I have to write a 1,000-word essay on the effects of global warming on the ecosystem of South America. Number 3, I had no one to be my partner on the diseases and disorders project that we're doing in health and safety because Lily and I aren't speaking, and she's doing on the full-on avoidance thing. She even took the subway to school today instead of riding with Michael and me in the limo. Not that I mind. Plus, when I drew disorders, I got Asperger's syndrome. Why couldn't I have gotten a cool disease like Ebola? It's so unfair, especially since now I'm considering the health field as a career. Number 1. At lunch, I accidentally ate a sausage that was mistakenly baked into my supposedly cheese-only individual pizza. Also, Boris spent the whole period writing Lily over and over again on his violin case. Lily didn't even show up at lunch. Hopefully, she and Jangbu hopped on a plane back to Nepal and won't be bothering any of us anymore. Michael says he doesn't think that happened, though. He says he thinks that she had another press conference. I mean, I am married to a giant leprechaun. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's great. You just, spin him around 3 times and make a wish or something like that. I don't know. Number 2, Michael did not, in fact, change his mind about the prom. Not that I brought it up or anything, just that we happened to be walking around past the table where Lana and the rest of the prom committee are selling tickets, and Michael went, "Sucka," under his breath when he saw the guy who hates it when they put the corn in the chili buying prom tickets for himself and his girlfriend. A true description of him hasn't existed. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Even the guy who hates it when they put corn in the chili is going to the prom. Everyone in the whole world is going to the prom, except for me. Lily still isn't back from wherever it is she went before lunch, which is probably just as well. I don't think that Boris could take it if she walked in here right now. He found some whiteout in the supply closet, and he's using it to make little curlicues around Lily's name on his violin case. I want to shake him and go, "Snap out of it. She's not worth it." But I'm afraid it might loosen his stitches. Plus, Mrs. Hill, clearly due to yesterday's event, is fully sitting at her desk, flipping through Garnet Hill's catalog, keeping an eagle eye on us. I bet she got in trouble over the whole violin virtuoso globe-dropping thing. Principal Gupta is really strict about bloodshed on school grounds. Since I have nothing better to do, I'm going to compose a poem that expresses my true feelings over everything that's going on, and I intend to call it Spring Fever. If it's good enough, I'm going to submit it to the Atom, anonymously, of course. If Leslie knew that I wrote it, she'd never print it since I'm a cub reporter and have not paid my dues, quote-unquote. But if she finds it just slipped under the door to the Atom's office, then she might run it. The way I see it, I have nothing to lose. It's not like things can possibly get any worse. At least he's a leprechaun with collarbones. No, he doesn't have collarbones, remember? It's very sad. No collarbones. It's truly, truly upsetting. I'm so glad she got mine. Jamantha, on the other hand, did not get my collarbones. It's quite sad. Tuesday, May 6th, St. Vincent's Hospital. Things just got worse. Very, very worse. And it's probably all my fault. All my fault because before I wrote that about things not possibly being able to get worse, and it turns out the things absolutely can get worse. In my pregnancy dream, he had a collarbone with no face. That's funny. She did. She got my collarbones. It's great. Look, they're right here. Flunking an algebra quiz, getting in trouble in bio for passing notes, getting Asperger's syndrome as your health and safety project, your father trying to force you to spend most of your summer in Genovia, your boyfriend refusing to take you to the prom, your best friend calling you weak, her boyfriend needing stitches in his head from a self-inflicted globe wound, and your grandmother trying to force you to have dinner with the Sultan of Brunei. What's worse is your pregnant mother passing out in the frozen foods section at Grand Union. I'm totally serious. She landed face first in the Haagen-Dazs. Thankfully, she bounced off the bed in Jerry's and came to rest on her back, or my potential brother or sister would have been crushed under the weight of his or her own mother. The manager of Grand Union apparently didn't have the slightest idea what to do, so according to witnesses, he ran around the store flapping his arms and saying, "Dead woman in aisle 4! Dead woman in aisle 4!" I don't know what would have happened if the New York Fire Department hadn't happened to be there. I'm serious. No. Ladder Company 9 does their grocery shopping for the firehouse at Grand Union. I know this because Lily, back when we were friends, first realized firemen are hot, and I used to go there all the time with her to watch them as they picked through the nectarines and the mangoes. And they happened to be there today, stocking up for the week when my mom went horizontal. They checked her pulse right away and figured out that she wasn't in fact dead. And then they called an ambulance and they whisked her away to St. Vincent's, which was the closest ER. He may not have collarbones, but he has extra funny bones to make up for it. Funny bones, that's funny. Too bad my mom was unconscious. She would so totally have loved to see all those hot firefighters bending over her. Plus, you know, the fact that they were strong enough to lift her, and given her current weight, that's saying a lot. It's pretty cool. You can imagine when I was just sitting there bored out of my skull in French, my cell phone rang. Well, I freaked out. Not because it was the first time that anyone ever called me or anything like that, but because Mademoiselle Klein fully confiscates cell phones that ring during her class, but because the only people who are allowed to call me on my cell are my mom, Mr. G, and then only then to let me know that I need to go home because my new sibling is about to be born. Well, except that when I finally answered the phone, it took me a minute to figure out that it was my phone ringing, and then I kept looking around accusingly at everyone else in class who just blinked, looking confusingly back at me. It wasn't my mom or Mr. G to tell me the baby was coming. It was Captain Pete Logan, who asked me if I knew a Helen Thermopolis, and if so, could I meet her at St. Vincent's Hospital immediately. The fireman had found my mom's cell in her purse and dialed the only number she stored in it. Mine. I about had a coronary, of course. I shrieked and I grabbed my backpack, and then I grabbed Lars. He and I booked it out of there without a word of explanation to anyone, like I had suddenly developed Asperger's syndrome or something like that. On our way out of the building, I skidded past Mr. Gianni's classroom and then backed up and stuck my head in to scream that his wife was in the hospital and he better put down the chalk and come with us. I've never seen Mr. G look so scared, not even the first time he met Grandmere. And then all three of us ran for 77th Street subway station because there was no way that a cab was going to get there fast enough in midday traffic. And Hans and the limo are off duty every day until I get out of school at 3. I don't think that the staff at St. Vincent's, who are totally excellent by the way, have ever encountered anything quite like a hysterical princess of Genovia, her bodyguard, and her stepfather before. The three of us burst into the ER. The waiting room just stood there screaming my mom's name until finally this nurse came out of triage and was like, "Helen Thermopolis is just fine. She's awake and resting now. She just got a little dehydrated and fainted." Dehydrated? I had another coronary, this time for different reasons. She hasn't been drinking her 8 glasses of water a day? The nurse smiled and said, "Well, she mentioned that the baby's putting a lot of pressure on her bladder. Is she going to be all right?" Mr. G wanted to know. "Is the baby going to be all right?" I wanted to know. "Both of them are going to be fine," the nurse said. "Come with me and I'll let you talk to her." Then the nurse took us to the ER, the actual ER of St. Vincent's Hospital, where everybody in Greenwich Village who gets shot or has a kidney stone goes. And then I saw tons of sick people in there. There was this guy who had sort of tubes sticking out of him, and another guy who was throwing up in a basin, and there was an NYU student sleeping it off, and an old lady who had heart palpitations, and a supermodel who had fallen off her stilettos, and a construction worker who had a gash in his hand, and a bike messenger who had been hit by a taxi. Anyway, before I got a good look at all the patients like the ones that I might have to work on someday if I ever pull my algebra grade up and get into medical school, the nurse tugged the curtain back, and there was my mom, awake and looking pretty peeved. And when I noticed there was a needle in her arm, I saw why she was so peeved. She was hooked up to an IV. Oh my God, I yelled at the nurse, even though you aren't supposed to yell in the ER because there are sick people there. If she's okay, why does she have that in her arm? It's just to get some fluids into her, the nurse said. Your mom is going to be fine. Please, Mrs. Thermopolis, tell them that you're going to be fine. It's Ms., my mom snarled, and then I knew that she was indeed going to be just fine. I threw myself onto her and I gave her the biggest hug that I could with the IV and the fact that Mr. G was hugging her too. I'm all right, my mom said, patting us both on our heads. Let's not make a bigger deal out of this than has already been made. But it is a big deal, I said, feeling tears trickle down my face, because it's very upsetting getting a phone call in the middle of French class from Captain Pete Logan telling you that your mother is being taken to the hospital. No, it's not, my mom said. I'm fine. The baby's fine. And once they get the rest of this Ringer's lactate into me, I can go home. She shot the nurse a look. Right? Yes, ma'am, said the nurse. And she closed the curtain so that the four of us, my mom, Mr. G, and me and the bodyguard, could have some privacy. You have to be more careful, Mom, I said. You can't let yourself get worn out like this. I'm not worn out, my mom said. It's that damn roast pork noodle soup that I had for lunch. From number 1 Noodle Son? I cried, horrified. Mom, you didn't. There's like 1 million grams of sodium in that. No wonder that you passed out. The MSG alone. I have an idea, Your Highness, Lars said, speaking in a low voice in my ear. Why don't you go across the street with me and we'll see if we can get your mother a smoothie. Lars always keeps such a level head in a crisis. This is no doubt on account of his intense training with the Israeli army. He is a distinguished expert marksman with a Glock and pretty good with a flamethrower too, or once he confided in me. Yes, that is a good idea, I said. Mom, Lars and I will be right back. We're gonna go get you a nice healthy smoothie. Thanks, my mom said weakly, but for some reason she was looking more at Lars than at me. No doubt because her eyes were still out of focus from the whole fainting thing. Except when we returned with the smoothie, the nurse wouldn't let us back in to see my mom. She said it was only 1 visitor per hour per patient in the ER, and that she only made an exception before because we all looked so worried, and she wanted us to see for ourselves that Mom was okay, and since I'm the Princess of Genovia and all that. She did take the smoothie that Lars and I had bought and promised to give it to Mom, though. So now Lars and I are sitting on the hard orange plastic chairs in the waiting room. We'll be here until my mom gets released. I already called Grammy and canceled my princess lessons for the day. I must say, Grammy wasn't very alarmed once she heard that Mom was going to be all right. From the tone of her voice, you would think that the relatives of hers fainted in Grand Union every day. My dad's reaction to the news was much more gratifying. He got all worked up and wanted to fly in the royal physician all the way from Genovia to make sure that the baby's heart was regular and the pregnancy wasn't putting undue stress on my mom's admittedly worn out 36-year-old system. Oh my God, you'll never guess who just walked into the ER. My own royal consort, HRH, Michael Moskowitz Ronaldo to be. More on this later. Well, Mia, I will thank you to take your ageism and shove it where the sun don't shine. Miss Thermopolis, Ronaldo. Ageist. She's ageist. That's all I'm gonna say. Guys, we have Roll for Slime tonight, which is super exciting. It's Disney Blind Box Roll for Slime, and it's at 5:30. I am too, Nikki. I am too. Whenever anyone in any book is like talking about parents being old and they're like 35, I'm like, it was a different time. It was a different time. Yes, exactly. 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 Do you guys want to hear something fun? Yeah, seriously, Stephanie. No, seriously. To be fair, I thought my parents were ancient when they were my age. True. True. Actually, I didn't think my mom was ancient when she was my age because I don't remember when my mom was my age. Did you get the other box? Might have had items and I can't remember. No, maybe. I have one more box to open, so maybe it's that. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. So anyway, we have, I know, well, they not only, we aren't old, but also when my mom was my age, I was only 1.5. So I didn't, Nikki. Can we put a tracker on it? And then like, if you give me the tracking number, I can reach out to the PO box and see if they accidentally put it in the wrong box, because I don't have anything from you. No, don't resend it. Just give me the tracking number, and I can give the PO box. It's like a company that has like mailboxes, and I can see if they put it in the wrong mailbox. Because I have a slime that Hope sent me that I haven't opened, and then I have one more thing, but it is not tracking is in my Patreon DMs. Perfect. Okay, I'll grab it. It is not, I know, right? Stay asleep, for reals. Okay, so since she's asleep and I have a second, I'm gonna tell you the Anya not wanting to have children story, because I don't wanna forget to tell it to you because it's too funny not to tell. So I'm gonna set the scene for you for a second. This is New York City, downtown, in an apartment that is a very nice apartment, right? And there's 2 girls, right? And they're how old were they at the time? I think they were like 5 and 8, maybe 5 and 8, or 6 and 7. I was senior high school and my mom was my age. That's insane. That's insane. So they're little, right? And the younger one is named Serena, and the older one is named Anya. Yeah. And so I was giving Serena a bath, like you do, right? When you nanny a 6-year-old, it's evening, we've had dinner, it's time for bath. And I give her a bath, and she was in a naked pants phase where she liked to, after her bath, run around the house with no clothes on. And I had only one rule, because it was usually just me and her sister in the house. And so I was like, fine, pick your battles, right? The only rule was she wasn't allowed to go near open windows. And by open windows, I mean no curtained windows, not like open windows, just like windows that didn't have curtains on them. She wasn't allowed to go near visible windows while she was naked pants, but she could run around the house for a few seconds before getting dressed. If that made her happy, I wasn't gonna pick that battle, you know what I mean? So I let her do it. And some people might agree with that, some people might not, but it was just me and her sister at home, so whatever. So anyway, we're doing this, and her sister, who I can't remember, was either 8 or 9 at the time, was mortified by this. She found this to be the height of impropriety. She thought that I should put the kibosh on the naked pants 6-year-old right away, and that I should not let her ever be naked, ever, right? This is what she believed. She was like, why would she do this? And I said to her, I said, honey, she's not hurting you. She's just getting a little crazy pants out, you know, just let her do the thing. And she got real mad, and she said, Sasha, this is why I am never going to have children. And I said, well, Anya, if you don't want to have children, you don't have to have children, and you can pick whatever reason you want to not have them technically, but this is a pretty weak reason. Like, I mean, just be like, I don't want them. You can just say, I don't want children. You don't have to like say, because my sister ran around naked when she was 6. Like, that's a pretty weak reason to not want to have kids. Just say, I don't want kids, just own it. And she was like, well, this is pretty terrible though. And I was like, yeah, but it's not, I mean, who cares? And she was like, what if I have kids and they also want to run around naked? And I was like, okay, well, I mean, I guess technically it's possible, but you didn't do that when you were little, so maybe they'll inherit your more modest way of being. And she was like, but what if the person that I marry ran around naked when they were little? And I was like, okay, I mean, also possible, they could have done that, but I mean, I don't know, I guess maybe that's something you talk to someone about before you decide to procreate with them. You like make sure that you're all on the same page with your values. And she said, Sasha, when am I gonna have a chance to find that out? And I was like, I don't know, I guess you just ask them. Like, I am
so confused in this conversation. I was like, why? What is happening right now? I was like, you could just ask though, right? And she was like, sure, yeah, this is how it's gonna go. I'm gonna be sitting across from them on our first date, and I'm just gonna say, hey, so by the way, is there any chance that you used to be an executioner? And I was like, what? And I was like, you know what, Anya? You should ask that on the first date. And she was like, see, it's difficult. And I was like, no, that's not, you have to know. Actually, that's really important for you to know. And she was like, yeah, no, it's really important for me to know. I was like, yeah, if someone that you're dating used to be an executioner, you do need to know. That's more important than I ever could have imagined. I never thought of it until right now. But you're right, that is really important to know. And she was like, no, that's what I've been saying. I was like, honey, your sister's not an executioner. And she was like, well, she's running around naked. I was like, that's exhibitionist. And she was like, what's executioner? I was like, that's somebody who kills people for a living. And she was like, oh, that's different. I was like, yeah, no, super different. But important to know. I mean, wouldn't you agree? Really important to know. I think. Maybe among the most important things to know. Yeah, I need to check with her. Yes, please do ask. I know, right? Yeah, it's a serious question now. Oh, man. Would they be honest? Probably not. Probably not. So anyway, those are my stories for the day. I hope you enjoyed my trip down memory lane with Anya's stories. She's hilarious. She's a hilarious kid. Today is my 200th day of life. Aww, that's amazing, Isabella. Have you ever execute people for a living? Yeah, seriously. All right, so I will see you all later for Roll for Slime at 5:30. We are possibly going to go to what is called a droolers class today. It's the class at the baby place specifically for the age group that is very drooly and cannot yet move on their own. We'll see if we're able to get into it. I was supposed to sign up for it earlier and I forgot to sign up for it, so I have to go over in person today and see if they have space. But we'll see. Completely different location. Yeah, back at different. I'll try and be there, but I have to. Oh yeah, don't even worry, Isabella. It's all recorded. Yes, Slime later. Thank you. I hope you all have a great day as well. I'm gonna go have breakfast, feed her, and then go take a class, and then come back and set up a Roll for Slime. Bye, guys.